All right, good evening, guys. Welcome back to the channel. So, I was going to do a detailing video today, but with the heat we've had here, decided to go ahead and save that for Wednesday. But still wanted to upload a video here, and this is going to be not detailing related, but it is still car related. And as you can tell by the title here of this video, what is the accuracy? How is accurate is sites like Kelley Blue Book and Edmunds and sites like that that give you information on what you should be looking to get when you sell your car, trade your car, or for buying a car. Now, Kelley Blue Book goes all the way back to 1926, and they have been around for obviously close to 100 years, and they have been the basically go-to source of when you are looking to sell your car or buy a car, and what are the values that you should be receiving. You can even go back to a certain period of time where you could walk into the store and physically purchase a Kelley Blue Book in the magazine section that could give you, values for cars, for the previous, 6 months of the year or however way they did it. But that has all changed, and that all changed back in 2010 when Kelley Blue Book was acquired by a company called Cox Automotive, which is a subsidiary of Cox Enterprise. And Cox Automotive also is owners of Autotrader.com and also owners of Manheim Auto Auction. Now, autotrader.com is a website that you can go to that is, full of used cars, pre-owned cars, new cars, private sale cars, and Manheim Auto Auction is one of the biggest, if not the biggest, auto auction in the United States, where dealers send their cars to, and thousands of cars are sold there every single week. So one company, Cox Automotive, is now is in control of these three companies. So basically, when you take a look at it and you go on KelleyBlueBook.com, I'm going to be a little bit of a spoiler alert here because I'm going to mention it several times throughout this video. But sites like Kelley Blue Book, Edmunds, they are now basically sources for advertising for dealerships, meaning that they know you're going to be going on this website to be looking at values for cars you want to buy, car you want to trade. So they know you're going to already be on there. So they're going to pay thousands of dollars a year to have their name, put out there on these websites to draw you into their dealership. So it's a method of advertising for the dealership because they already know you're going to be on the website. Problem is where the underlying issue that is overlooked is neither of these two or any of these sources. Really, Edmunds and Kelley Blue Book are the biggest. NEDA, Black Book, they're kind of secondary, but none of these sources that provide values for your car, none of them actually will purchase your car. Yes, there is the Kelley Blue Book instant cash offer, but that is only through select dealerships. Not every dealership is a part of it. And when even though the offer is coming from Kelley Blue Book, so to speak, the price that is being given is determined by the dealership itself. It is not Kelley Blue Book is not buying your car. Kelley Blue Book is not appraising your car. It is coming from the dealership itself. Now, the big thing there is they have to be willing to write you a check for, they say $10,000 instant cash offer. They have to be willing to write you a check for that amount. They can't say that's for buy if you buy something or you have to select, a car out of the inventory. They would write you a check for that number because they're a part of that program. Now, henceforth, why a lot of dealerships are not a part of the instant cash offer program is because they don't want to be writing checks to acquire vehicles off the street without selling something in return. They rather go to Manheim Auto Auction and purchase a vehicle where it's already been checked out by trained inspectors, and it gets a score of 1 to 5, 1 being in rough condition, 5 being in showroom condition. So a lot of the stuff has already been done prior, so they can look at the report, they can see what the inspector found, all the way from cosmetics down to mechanical issues. If the car needs tires, if it needs brakes, if it has any aftermarket equipment on the vehicle, they can see everything that car has, and they can even do it from the comfort of their dealership. They don't have to physically go to the auction they can see all that thing through a virtual auction here at their computer at their desk. Now, when they look at those reports, that can determine what they're going to buy, what they're going to pay for it. And back to my point of, they rather buy a car from an auction because typically they can get them a little bit cheaper from the auction than they can if they had to pay somebody cash off the street. If there's a car going through an auction lane and it's not really getting any bidders, they might be able to get a decent, vehicle, a nice vehicle for a really, really good price, and they can put it on the lot and retail it and get a good profit with it. They can't do that same thing if they bought that same car from a person off the street. They would have to give them a little bit more money because that person's probably done some research and should know what to at least expect roughly for the car, so not able to take advantage of it in that same form. Now, with Kelley Blue Book, the instant cash offer, when you go through the instant cash offer, they ask you a question, and it's a simple question. Are you planning on replacing this vehicle? So what I found in my own testing, going through this, I found that when I selected yes, and then would do the same evaluation again and answered no to that question, there was two dealerships, because they send you to your three closest dealerships based on your zip code. Two out of those three dealerships that I got information from gave me two different numbers for my vehicle, and I ran the same evaluation the same way, but just answered that question yes and then answered it no. I received a higher number from a dealership that where I said I'm interested in buying a car, and I received a lower number where I was not going to be buying a car. Now, what that process is called, it's called a trade-in allowance. And basically, when you see trade-in allowance, that number most of the time, if not every time, is not going to be the actual worth of your vehicle, the actual cash value for your car. That is a number that they put on the piece on a deal paper with all the other information. But the only way to get that number is if you buy the car that you're looking at or you buy a vehicle from their inventory. Um, it's not a cash value, meaning that if you took out the side that you're not going to buy their car, but you want to sell them your car, you're not going to get that number that they say. And the reason for that is dealerships want to sell you on a monthly payment. They do not want to sell you, excuse me, on a vehicle price, and they don't even want to sell you on a trade price. They want to sell you on a monthly payment because, 9 out of 10 people that walk into the dealership are going to be financing something, whether it's $10,000, $20,000, $50,000. They're going to be taking some type of loan. And, we as society, we pay everything by month. We pay our cell phone bill every month. We pay our cable bill, our internet, our car insurance. Some of us, everything we do is on a month-to-month basis. So when somebody goes in the dealership is attempting. So what I'm going to do next here is I'm going to show you, what you would see when you go and look at the value of your vehicle on Kelley Blue Book. So you go up here to the top, click on my car's value, and then you can see you have some choices here. You can do the instant cash offer, but like I said, your information is going to go to the three closest dealerships that are part of this program. So you're going to get bombarded with phone calls, emails, maybe even a text message or two, with them trying to schedule you an appointment so that they can do an actual in-person appraisal, excuse me, on your vehicle. But I'm not going to go ahead and do that. You can go ahead and do that for yourself if you would choose. I'm going to click on Get Trade-in Value. And for the purpose of this video, I'm going to use a 2012 Ford Fusion with 74,000 miles. Put in my zip code. Now you see this next list here is all the trim levels that are available for the Ford Fusion. The S all the way up to the Sport, and it tells you which is the lowest, which is the highest. Have an SEL. Now this is where this can get misleading and where you can start seeing inflated numbers when you actually look at the value range that Kelley Blue Book is giving you. So if you click on this option right here, select your options. Now the only option, well, there's two options here that I'm seeing. You have your 4-cylinder, or you have the 3-liter V6 and then front wheel drive or 4-wheel drive. So in this instance, I would want to select, it already selected the 3-liter. So that's already would have been chosen if I had skipped this screen and had stuck with prices with standard equipment. But because this one is the all-wheel drive model, I'm going to go ahead and click that. And as you can see, everything is already selected. Sport suspension would only be on the Sport, the Fusion Sport. Interior, everything is already selected. So pretty much everything here is already pre-selected. It does have the parking sensors in the back, and it does have a backup camera. Also has a rear spoiler, and also comes with blind spot monitoring. The color is silver. Now, this is where when you're selling, trading your vehicle, this column right here is where the root of your expectation has to start. So you see fair, good, very good, excellent, and then you see down here at the bottom, Kelley Blue Book does not provide values for cars in poor condition. Well, what would be poor condition? Poor condition would be a car with a check engine light, and the engine making the noise it's not supposed to be, the transmission slipping or shifting hard, significant body damage to the vehicle from a visible accident. Those would deem in poor condition because they're not road safe. They're not. They wouldn't pass safety inspection. They're not safe for the road in condition that they're in. So they do not provide a value for cars in those conditions because it's subject to, what exactly is going on with the vehicle. And you see these numbers up here: fair, good, very good, excellent. And these percentages are also here for a reason too. This is just telling you, where most cars land, and you can see majority of them are between good and very good. Only 3% are excellent. So for a car to be in excellent condition, it cannot have any scratches, it cannot have any interior flaws, it can't have any curb rashing on the wheels, tires, brakes all have to be in working order. Basically, a car that has no more than 3,000 miles on it would be deemed excellent condition, or if it's a show car for somebody that they only take to car shows on the weekend or take it out for a drive a few times a month. Very good has minor cosmetic defects. It is an excellent mechanical condition, so tires and brakes and everything is in working order. Minor cosmetics would be, some rock chips, some scratches, maybe a dent here and there from a parking lot or something. Good would be has some repairable cosmetic defects and is free of major mechanical problems. So this can mean that, tires might have to be replaced in the next year, brakes might have to be replaced within the next 6 to 12 months. And the repairable defects, maybe the bumper needs to be painted, maybe it needs to be replaced, it could be cracked or something. Maybe the seat has some wear on it in the interior. And then you have fair, has some cosmetic defects that require repairing or replacing. And this would entail bad tires or bad brakes as well, would possibly fall into this fair category. So to start yourself with a realistic expectation, you have to be totally honest about the condition that your car's in. Like I said, if it's over 3,000 miles, chances are it's not going to be in excellent condition. It's going to be in very good condition or good. So if you walk around your car and you have 4 parking lot things, you have significant rock chips on the front of the car, have maybe a couple of your wheels have some curb rash, that's not excellent condition. That's not very good condition. That is good condition. So the car itself, realistically, is in good condition. Very good condition would be maybe have a couple rock chips up front that just need some touch up, maybe a ding or two, no curb rashing on your wheels, your interior looks nice. Basically, the car just needs needs some repair from a body shop with touching up scratches, touching up some stone chips, and just needs a full detail. That would be very good condition. So for this vehicle, I'm going to choose very good condition because I can't choose excellent. With a car with 74,000 miles, unless it just was painted, it's not going to be in excellent condition. So it's going to say it's calculating here your value. And it's going to show you a range. So it's saying $6,106 to $7,495. In the condition that I selected, it's telling me that I should get $6,801 for the vehicle. So when you look at this range, you have to focus on that number to be realistic with yourself. You have to focus on that number, the 6,801 to the 6,106. The 7,495, there's not going to be a dealership on the planet that is going to be giving you $7,500 essentially in cash for your vehicle. It's just not going to happen. You're never going to see that. You're going to be at this 6,800 to 61, and maybe even a little bit less, depending on what the dealership deems that they could sell that vehicle for. You know, if you're trading it into a BMW dealership, chances are they're not going to be wanting to pay top dollar for this because it's not going to be something that's going to be that they're going to want in their pre-owned inventory, sitting next to 30, 40, $50,000 pre-owned BMWs or other luxury vehicles they might have. So they might deem it a little bit less. They might tell you, 5,800. But realistically, 61 to 6,100 to 6,800 is where you have to focus. If you go in thinking you're going to get 7,500, you're just going to walk out very frustrated and you're going to feel like that you didn't get the best deal. Now, the next one, and this is where people sometimes get confused and they click on this when they're trying to maybe sell them car themselves. So private party value, they're saying, and again, 8,300 to 10,279 in condition that I selected 9,296. I will say this entire range is a totally and is a total guess on KBB's end. And the reason that is a guess is because they do not know what cars sell privately for in the market. Someone doesn't sell their car, call up Kelley Blue Book and say, "Hey, I sold my 2012 Ford Fusion with 74,000 miles. This is this is the condition that it was in. These are the options and features. I sold it for X amount of dollars." That doesn't happen. The only way that Kelley Blue Book would know what cars sell for in the private market is if they looked at transactions that that go through the DMV records when somebody transfers their title, transfers the ownership, and they do not have access to that. So this is a total other guess. I believe it to be a percentage. Excuse me. I mean a percentage of the trade-in is how they get to this private party. So whatever that number, whatever that percentage is in their logarithm, is how I believe that they get to these numbers. Again, that's just on my end. That's just speculation. I don't have factual proof, but that is what my thinking is just by looking at different evaluations and just seeing a common trend. They're taking a percentage of the high trade-in to the low trade-in, and that's how they're getting you to your private party number here on this car, which is 8,300 to 10,279. So when you're on Kelley Blue Book and you're looking at this, this information, if you want to sell it privately, here's my suggestion to sell it privately. Go online, look at what the dealers within 50 miles of where you live, and look what they're selling for the vehicle in similar condition, similar miles, and similar equipment. So if you come to the consensus that you look at all and they're asking, $9,000 for that vehicle average, there's going to be some high, there's going to be some low, but if you average it out, it comes to 9,000. When you throw your car out there on the private market, it might be best to ask 8,500. I would ask 8,000 because the reason for that is you can't compete as a private seller. You cannot compete with the dealership. The dealership can provide financing. They can provide a warranty. They can sell you an extended warranty. And chances are, if they're retailing the car, it's going to have brand new inspections. So they might have put new tires on the car. They might have replaced the brakes. It's going to have a full reconditioning of the interior and the exterior. So any stains in the seats, the carpets, the headliner, the body, everything is going to be, bringing the car back to look as good as it can. So there's benefits to buying the car at the dealer lot. The downside is you're going to pay that's where you're going to pay the most amount of money is on the dealership. Now, the incentive for somebody to sell a car privately or to buy a car privately is to save a few dollars off of that at the dealership. So if the dealership's asking $9,000 for the car and you're got yours priced at, Kelley Blue Book is telling you to sell this at 9,300. Well, I know the person's going to want to negotiate with me on the transaction, so I might list it for 9,500. Well, now you're in the realm of what the dealerships are asking for the same car. No one's ever going to call you. They're not going to be interested because they can go buy your car at a dealer for the same price and be able to take a loan on that amount. They get a warranty and they have a place to take the car back to if something goes wrong. So to incentivize someone to buy your car on the private market, you want to be, 500 to as much as, if it's a more expensive car, as much as $2,000-3,000 less than that of dealership. You have to give incentive because the person that's buying your car is taking full risk. They're not getting that warranty. They're not getting financing. They don't have a place to take the car to if something goes wrong. So there has to be an incentive there, and that incentive is you save them $1,000 from going into the buying the same car at the dealership. So you have to be realistic with when you want to sell your car privately. If you try to ask $10,000 on the private market, you're never going to sell your car. It's going to take you months, if not a year, till you finally sell your car if you're going to be asking $10,000. This is where this gets very misleading when you look at this range of private party. And the same thing goes on the trade-in. If you walk into the dealership and you're expecting to get $7,500 for your car, they're just going to laugh, and you're just going to get yourself frustrated, and you're going to think that the dealers are trying to take advantage of you. They can't pay you $7,500, write you a check for $7,500, and try to turn around and sell the car for $9,000, because there's acquisition costs, there's different things that go on when a dealer inquires a vehicle into their inventory. There's stuff that's associated that goes on behind the scenes that they have to pay in order to retail that vehicle. So they give you 7,500. There's no way they're not going to be able to sell the car. They're going to be priced out of the market to hit the margin that they need to hit because they have to make money too. Obviously, yes, it can get a little ridiculous sometimes with the amount of money that they do make, but they can't price themselves out of the market. Giving someone $7,500 for a car like this, they would be pricing themselves out of the market when they try to turn around and sell it. So again, realistic expectations when it comes to the condition of your car, being honest with yourself, and then that determines where you're going to start. And then when you're looking here at the trade-in value, you know, you're assume the max is going to be 6,800, and assume the lease is going to be 61. Now, if you walk into the dealer and they tell you $5,000 that they're going to give you for the vehicle, well, I would ask them, why are you giving me five? I'm just curious. Is there something that you found? Is there something going on with my car? And if they have a legitimate reason to be offering you $5,000, then that's okay. But if they don't have a legitimate reason, then I would take the car to another dealer and see what they can offer and compare offers. Which leads into my next point that I wanted to go over is, what should you do when you're shopping for a car and you have a car that you need to get rid of to replace, and get something new. A lot of stuff can be done on the internet. A lot of information like this is available, but you want to basically stick to no more than going to 3 different places. I personally recommend 2. That way you're not getting confused because, like I said, with a trade-in, it can be difficult to know what they're giving you for your car. One dealer could say we're giving you 6,000. Next dealer could say they're giving you 7. they're both looking at the same data. They're looking at Mannheim Auto Auction, and they're looking at all those records that have taken place of what cars in similar condition with similar equipment and mileage have sold for, is how they're coming to their final number. So if one is telling you 6 and the other is telling you 7, I would break out a calculator and compare those two deals side by side from MSRP all the way down to the discounted price of the car with the trade-in, factor in sales tax and fees, and see what that bottom line number is going to be. Because I'd be willing to bet that the one that's telling you $7,000 might not be the better deal. The one that's telling you 6,000 might be a better deal. The one that's telling you 7 might not be discounting that car quite as far, but they're throwing that extra discount that they might have available, they're putting that into the trade, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that because it's all coming down to the same bottom line. But if you don't take the time to do the math and physically figure it out for yourself, you're going to want to go with that $7,000, and that dealer is going to be, super excited because they just made a lot of money off of the deal that they just gave you. Because like I said, chances are that $6,000 might actually be the better deal than the one that's telling you 7.